Hello and welcome to this week's EuroVersy Song for Europe interview. My guests this week are a songwriting couple who met whilst they were making an album together. One was the producer and one was the artist, and together they went on to write the song Love Come Down for the Pearls, which in 1989 would get into the last 8 of A Song for Europe 1989. I am delighted to welcome Pauly Moore and Joe Ortiz. Hello to you both. Thanks very much for doing this. How are you both?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. It's lovely of you. We're doing fine. You know, we're still making music. You know, we're still doing all the things that we've always done. You know, writing, composing, recording, and we just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary.
Wow!
Which I know it's quite incredible, really, because we're also a music partnership. You know, for all of this time. And we've got one son, you know, who is also in the music business and is doing very, very well. So I mean, it's a lifelong thing for us, Pete. You know, it's from the heart. You know, it's a soul thing, and we can never ever give it up. You know, the moment our hands touch the keyboard, that's it. We're done.
I read as an aside, Joe, you were born in New York. Is that right?
I was, yes.
Yeah, this is completely non-Eurovision related. I got married in Central Park.
Love it.
Wow.
About 8 years ago. I've got to remember that.
My first place of residence was not far from Central Park, actually, 110th Street.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, tell me a bit about how things were going before the Song for Europe in 1989. What were you two up to as a recording partnership?
Atlantic. We were making an album for Atlantic Records at the time.
It was there was a lot happening, actually, you know, and as in life, sometimes all these things all sort of come at once, and then all of a sudden, you know, we were asked if we want to enter a song for the Eurovision Song Contest, and we had what we thought was the ideal one, which is Love Come Down, which is it's a Motown song, you know, so we wanted it to sound very Motownish. And then we were told that the Pearls were going to do it, and you know, that was great. And obviously Terry Wogan introduced it, and I mean, we would have liked it to have gone higher, but then every artist says that, don't they? You know, we like that song, you know, and we still sort of listen to it. We were going to re-record it, but we've got our original recording. If you ever want to hear it, you know, just sort of ask and we'll send it to you.
That'd be excellent. Yeah, that'd be really great.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere the song was actually written in 1983. Is that right?
It was, yeah.
Yes, it was.
And so did you, when your management asked you if you'd like to put a song in, did you look at each other and go, that's the one, or did you have any other songs to think about first? Or
we had quite a few songs, but that one seemed at the time to be the strongest one for the Eurovision. And you know how formulated the Eurovision has been, you know, as far as music is concerned. And at the time that we did the Eurovision, obviously, I mean, if you look at that broadcast with Terry Wogan, I can't believe how simple everything was. The sets, the lighting, and all of that, next to what you're seeing for Eurovision now, it's just like it's light years difference. So, like I said, at the time, we were recording our album for Atlantic Records, and you know, it was thought that it would be a good idea for us to enter a song into the Eurovision, because we were still in the studio doing this album for Atlantic. At the same time, we also produced a signature theme tune for a game show for Anglia TV. So as Pauly said, there was a lot going on at the time.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It was. I was just saying, it's the story of making the Atlantic Records album, Dedication, is a story in itself, Pete, because that was done in a 6x8 foot room, converted bedroom. And when the guys came over from Atlantic Records, they had this wavy line smile, because it's like, oh my God, you know, this is like Atlantic, and here it is in this tiny little bedroom. But when they heard it, they just couldn't believe what we'd done with a sec desk, FBO1, S900, we enjoyed doing it, you know. I mean, there weren't things that there are now, you know. There's so many different sort of software and programs and stuff. It's oh my God, if we'd have had that back then, but you know, we didn't, but we did our best.
No, It sounds like it. Did you sing on the demo, Pauly?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And what led to the decision to it turning into a 4-piece sort of singing group? Was there ever a possibility of you singing it, or?
We didn't actually want to appear ourselves.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you what it was. You know, as we're doing our album, you know, which was a very sort of it's a soul kind of, you know, jazz funk with a touch of pop. Nobody could actually describe what our album was. You know, they couldn't pigeonhole it. And right there and then we thought, is this right for us? But I think we were asked, but we said, no, pass this on, didn't we? We're happy just to be the writers. I think we actually were asked if we did want to do it. And we just said, no, we will pass on it, you know.
Okay.
I mean, do we regret that? You know, sometimes I think, yeah, I think we could have done it, you know, back then. But we were just so busy with the album that everything was happening at that point. Because it was a UK, it was an American deal, New York, you know, Atlantic Records. So lots of things had to sort of, you know, had to happen, if you like, all at one time. There were deadlines and God knows what. Yeah. So that was why we kind of turned it down and sort of like just put our energies, you know, into the album.
I mean, I couldn't even be with the BBC Orchestra during the rehearsals and stuff, which is probably why the version that everyone wound up listening to on the Eurovision show was pretty different to what we submitted for the Eurovision. Because as Pauly mentioned earlier, the original recording is very Motown. It's got that snare on every beat, and the bells and the whistles and stuff during the chorus is very, very Motown. What was it on the Pearls version sounded very Gloria Gaynor-ish, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Very disco-y.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bad arrangement. I mean, whoever did that, you know, did well, but I think it would have been very different if I had the time to be involved.
Yeah. Do you know who did the arrangement? Was it Ronnie Hazlehurst?
No idea. I think it was just one of the stuck BBC guys. I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah, we're not sure at all about that.
No idea.
Yeah. Okay. And just coming back to the choosing of the pearls again, was it when you said you weren't going to do it? Was the idea for who had the idea for a group, or was there decisions for solo?
Our manager.
Okay.
Our manager actually. You know, he chose everything and said that he'd found, you know, the girls that he thought could do it, so put them all together.
He auditioned a lot of singers for that. To try and match what was on the demo, and eventually they wound up with what you saw on the show.
And they would have been auditioned knowing that they were going to the Song for Europe, is that right?
Yes.
Because again, I read, I didn't realize this. The shortlist was announced in the December of 1988, so there was a good 3 or 4 months before sort of the program even went out. And you must have known for a long time you were going to be.
That is a pretty short lead time. Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was a long time, but that shows you what I know about the music. It shows you what I know about the industry.
These things, you need to plan them like a year ahead.
Really?
So,
yeah. Okay. Jeez. And so by the sounds of it, your management had the role in sort of staging and choreography and costumes and stuff. Were you had any input in that, or?
No, none at all. No, he did all of that, you know. And I mean, I think they did do a pretty good job. You know, as I said, our recording was different. It was definitely it definitely sounded more Motown, I think, our recording. But as I said, we will send you a copy, and then you can get an idea of sort of where it went from the original.
Yeah, no, I'd be really.
But we're very proud of it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was 170 submissions that year, and you got to the last 8. So it's, you know, it's impressive.
Well, he kept, you know, management kept calling us, you know, Joe, Pauly, guess what? You're in like the top 100, and then another phone call later again, and another 50, and we're looking at each other saying, well, that's pretty good. And it just kept going down and down until he said, you're in the final 8, you know, and I thought, good luck to everybody then.
And we talked a little bit about the arrangement and your feelings towards that. Did you manage to hear, because they managed to get sort of go on the Wogan show the week before the contest? Did you manage to hear that version, and were you able to try and influence what happened on the night?
Not at all. Again, it was just so the schedule to finish the album was so tight.
Everything was very quick, wasn't it, Pat?
Gosh. So when did you meet the singers then? Or
we never met the singers.
Yeah.
oh wow.
We actually have never met the Pauls. We've only ever seen the Pauls, on YouTube.
Right.
And yeah, so we never met them. I mean, they, the choreograph, I thought that was very, very good, but how they did that. And I think they did their best to that arrangement. As I say, our arrangement is different, but they still did a good job.
Yeah.
And it takes a hell of a lot of courage to stand on a stage anywhere. We know that. When you're in front of all those people and it's a contest, that you're not just doing it as like a gig, and it doesn't matter. It matters a heck of a lot to all those performers, doesn't it? You know.
So were you present at the final in the studio, or?
No, we were working at home, so we watched it at home with my mum and dad. And it's like what mums and dads are like. Yeah, they were kind of a bit crazy.
There was one short breakaway from the recording of the album. We actually had to go into the studio to produce a recording of the Pearls on a new backing track, not the one that we used for our own recording. We had to reproduce everything from scratch, just in case it had to start getting airplay if it if it went further than than the 8. So that's the only time that we broke away from what we were doing.
Right, I see. Okay. And so I take it that means you didn't hear the other 7 songs until you were watching it live on the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that was it. We only on the night, it was the only time we heard the other songs, which were really good. A lot of them were very good.
And having then watched all 8, what was your feeling on how you were going to do, or how on the outcome?
I thought we would. I wasn't sure whether. Obviously, everybody wants their one to be the top one. I thought we stood a good chance. To be honest, I really did. But I think it was number 4, wasn't it? Was it number 4? I'm not sure where it came.
You came 4th, yeah.
That was 4th, yeah. So maybe maybe it would have been nice if it was a second, second or first. But at least it was respectable. At least it wasn't last than this, Pete. Can you imagine?
Yeah, and having heard all the songs on the night, did you have a feeling about who? I'll start that again. Do you remember any of the songs, or did you have any regard for any of the other songs, or?
Too long ago for me.
It was so there was so much happening at that time. We had because we were with New York signing. So there was backwards and forwards. People were coming over to sort of like check the album. What was the single going to be? So our attention. It's not that we didn't want to put the attention into the Eurovision, but everything was happening with this album. With dedication. So really, our attention was sort of like split between all these things, and we had a TV show that we were doing music for.
Wow.
So lots of things were happening all at the same time,
Wow.
and then nothing happens. This is life, isn't it?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. Wow. So was the song ever released? Do you know?
No, I don't. I don't think it was ever released, was it? No, it wasn't released. No, we would have known if it was. Yeah.
Because I think it got a fair amount of airplay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And was it ever covered in future years, or did anyone ever take it on, or?
Just ourselves. Like as Pauly mentioned, we've re-recorded the backing track, and we're just waiting for the right time to put the vocal back on.
Yeah. And having the contest finished, the winner's been picked. What were your feelings sort of afterwards towards taking part in the competition and things?
I felt honoured. Honoured that, but beside us, having our song entered, in this business, there are so many people just wanting one break, one little break. And at that time, because we'd got the deal with Atlantic Records and things like, we were feeling extremely lucky, because it is a hard business out there. I don't have to tell you, I'm sure you know that. So we just felt honoured that we'd even had a song entered in. It was brilliant, So we felt very happy and honoured. Yeah, we did.
Good. Did you ever enter a song into the Song for Europe again?
Yes.
Did we?
This land is ours. Remember?
Oh, we have a song. Oh my God!
That was during what was happening in Kosovo. During there was a big conflict at the time. So the song was very patriotic. This land is ours. This hope is ours. Let's see, and we have a right to where we stand. Was the idea of the thing.
It would have been perfect.
It would have been perfect. But we've since then thrown in other little bits and pieces, like Winston Churchill's little bit of his speech and stuff like that. It's a very strong piece of music. I wish that we had the technology that we got now when we did that then.
Oh wow!
But yeah, we did have one more entry.
But by then, I think there were just thousands of more people entering the song contest. And I always wondered, and I don't know if you can answer this, but I always wondered years ago, anybody from, any songwriter from sitting in their little house or wherever could enter the song contest. It seems to be now very, very much like, artists that are known, to go into the song contest. And I always wonder how open that is just for anybody, but it doesn't seem to be open now to all songwriters. And I don't know if I'm right there. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you are right. So the process at the moment is that there is one record label that is partnered to the BBC, Tap Records. And they use their roster of artists and songwriters. And I think they've been given the sort of free reign to choose who they want on behalf of the BBC. And because I think in past years, obviously the UK have not had the best run of form in the last sort of 10 years. I think when the BBC have had the choice, they've probably not chosen well. And this time they've said that the record industry can. And obviously we had a great success last year with Tap Records choosing Sam. We had slightly less success the year before when we had another record label
because
entry.
It cuts so many people out. That's the only thing. I think it's not the way to go, because there are so many songs, especially when we were doing really bad and coming last. Oh my God! I'd listen to the song and think, where are they getting these songs from? And we know lots of songwriters, obviously, in this business, who could have just entered some fantastic songs and wanted to, but didn't know how to do it, so, but they did. Sam, he did do absolutely brilliant, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's
fantastic voice.
And he's brought it to my hometown now, so I'm thrilled.
Wow.
I'm half a mile from the venue, so I'm thrilled.
That's amazing. Great.
So what happened next for you two then? What projects came next after that? And
well, if I just condense it, I can see Joe going, oh my God, she's going to go War and Peace now. No, I'm not going to go War and Peace.
I'll see you next month.
Oh no, it's okay. I mean, very quickly, we've had a lot of health issues. Joe's got MS.
Right.
So he was diagnosed about 19 years ago, which obviously that was a big one for us. And then after getting all through that, and then I got ovarian cancer. So I'm hurrying it up, Joe.
No.
Keep
going. Take the attention off me before.
You're making the signs to me. I think.
No.
Put your hands up here, and then you can't do anything, right? So then I had ovarian cancer, which sort of really just took 5 or 6 years out of my life with checkups and cliffhangers and God knows what. And believe it or not, then we said, right, you know what? We're going to go out and we're going to gig some songs. Now, for me, that was difficult. Joe has been gigging in New York with all kinds of people, artists there. So, he was used to it. I'm only used to writing my own stuff. Yeah. So I had to learn a whole load of songs, which I'd never done before, mostly sort of Aretha Franklin songs, Natalie Cole and that. So we started gigging. And if I told you that we were getting offered like 2 or 3 gigs a week, like everybody was saying, oh, will you do our wedding? Will you do our so-and-so,
Wow.
And we did that, but we I felt that we'd wandered off to what we really are, which is recording artists and writers and musicians, with our own material, but we did quite a few years of that, and then I say, Joe, the MS is good days, bad days. This is the nature of it, and it's been horrible. It's absolutely been horrible. He's on lots of medication,
It's an invisible illness. I mean, if to look at me now, you wouldn't know that I'm having a pretty nightmarish afternoon. But that's just how it goes, you know.
Yeah, we're pumping ourselves with vitamin D. Yeah, we did go on YouTube. Just getting loads of really good stuff down us, you know.
Yeah. Well, even more so, thank you very much for your time today then, if that's what's been going on. I'd like to finish. We asked the songwriter, when we interview songwriters, we ask the same 4 questions. We've sort of covered one already, which is, do you still watch the Eurovision Song Contest?
Sometimes, yes. If we catch it, if we're doing something else, obviously but we do try and catch it. Yeah, I mean it's very, very ritzy now and very sophisticated. They've done very well. Yeah.
I was going to say, what do you think of it now with all the sort of, as you say, it's a very different contest to what it was 30 years ago?
Oh yeah. I mean it's very glossy, you know, and but it's got to be, you know, everything out there is all stepped up, isn't it? Everything's stepped up now. So no, it's just if anything from last year is to go by, which was such a change. It was so nice to see somebody that actually broke through, you know, from this country. And I don't think he was far from where we live, actually, because we live in the Colchester area.
Okay.
And I think he came from not that far from us. If I don't know if I'm right there. You might have the details there. But
I'm not sure, actually. No, I don't. No.
We didn't know him, but apparently he came not that far from Colchester, which I thought was really nice.
Okay. And bit of a sort of songwriter's question for you. If you were asked to redo Love Come Down, how would you approach it now?
Oh, very differently. With all the equipment we've got, you know, I'll let you answer that with, I mean, you know.
We'd probably be, it'd be difficult, but it would be a nice mix of old meets new. So we'd have to, you know, keep our eye and ear on what's going on out there. Not too much, because we've never been that, you know, much a follower of things. We prefer to, you know, to be out the front of the line. But yeah, I would probably listen to what's happening and maybe try and give it a little bit of a facelift. But we got to keep the spirit of the original writing and recording. So that's probably how we would approach it.
And then the final question, which relates to that, is if you could choose any artist to do it, who would you have sing it?
Who did we want back then? Remember?
Do you know what? I really don't know.
Diana Ross, mate.
We were thinking of like people like Diana Ross and people like that. You know, would have been really nice.
She would have been perfect, because I mean, she was the lead singer for the Supremes, and it was the Motowny song.
Yeah.
As you'll hear when we send you the recording.
Yeah, but obviously they wouldn't have Diana Ross in the Eurovision Song Contest. It would probably be somebody from the UK. But I'm sure that there are quite a few singers that actually could do it. You know, I think that the thing that maybe was a little difficult when the Pearls were looking, you know, at the song, was that I've got kind of a high range, you know, from low to high. And you've got to hit those high notes, you know, and if anybody goes for it, you can't be shy on it. You've just got to go for the soul, the guts of it, you know. So it would have to be somebody that could do that to it and give it that real Motown soul-y edge.
Great. Good. Well, that's all I wanted to ask. I just say absolutely thank you very much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating to get an insight into the processes of these things and stuff. And no, I'm thrilled you were able to speak to me. And so thank you very much.
You reached out. Thank you. It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers. Right. And my thanks go once again to Joe Ortiz and Pauly Moore for taking part in this discussion this afternoon. And they did supply us with the original demo that was submitted for the Song for Europe competition. So this is Love Come Down by Joe Ortiz and Pauly Moore, and sung in this version by Pauly Moore. Hope you enjoy it. See you soon.